Welcome to the Nuclear Snail channel. This episode is about making a simple wasteland post-apocalyptic bracelet, like what you see right here. I made this one for my friend Rain, which is, by the way, a really cool nickname for a wastelander, because in the wasteland, Rain is precious. So she might as well be called Precious, but she's called Rain, which is cool. Anyway, so whenever I make a bracelet, it's gonna be something simple like this. It all starts with a simple piece of belt. That's the beauty of it. You just need a piece of belt, some Velcro, and also some bolts and nuts and washers. I have another video about using bolts, nuts and washers for fastening. It's my preferred method because I don't bother sewing, I'm not good at it, I don't like doing it, and also this looks a lot cooler, I think. And we have some Velcro on both ends. Now the important part is that this fluffy Velcro is facing the inside, so facing the arm. So when we have our outside here, we have our fluffy Velcro out here. And you see I'm not bothered by those washers covering up a bit of the Velcro. That's alright because we still have enough sticky surface. And this is heavy-duty Velcro. So this is more than sufficient for something that will not be really carrying a load. So this is facing inwards for obvious reasons. And on the other side we have some hook Velcro, some rough Velcro. And this rough Velcro is a bit longer, so I have a bit of adjustability. So when I put this around my wrist, which is, by the way, really easy to do, because it's just Velcro, I can tighten it. Rain is gonna have slimmer wrists than I do, I think, I'm not sure. And this is a surprise, so I wanted it to be adjustable. You see that back here, now this is not enough Velcro. Like this whole strip where the bolts are and the washers are, that is not gonna be enough Velcro to hold. So we basically have this to work with, right? And this is just enough adjustability. It could have been a bit shorter, but you know. And on top here, we have our other belt. So this is just a belt on top of another belt. And the beauty of it comes from its simplicity and the choice of colors. So we have this wasp color scheme. And the rest of Rain's costume, it's black and red. So I figured time to break it up just a bit to add some other highlight contrast, which is an advanced design thing that you can do. We also, of course, have a material contrast, and let me flip this for you. We have this sort of fabric, focus camera, this sort of fabric, that sort of fabric, so two different types of belt. And to contrast those different fabrics even further, we have this piece of aluminum. Now this is just a piece of aluminum into which I've punched some letters using my letter punches. I have a video about using letter punches on my channel as well. And this is fastened just to the top belt, again with some bolts, nuts and washers. And you will also notice that to introduce another layer of detailing and yet another material that is different but in line with everything else, we have those little snails right here. So those are just some metal applications. Like usually you would put some rope up here or something else and wear them around your neck or whatever, or sew them onto something. What I did is drill through the middle of the snail, of each snail, and this one is flipped. As you can see, accidentally made it flipped as I was tightening the bolt, and then I was like, okay, that's actually cool. You know, it's a snail. It can hang on like this, so I leave it like this. So we have this brass kind of looking snail here and here, flanking that aluminum in the middle, and that is then on top of those belts. So we have some material contrast going on. And this brass works well because it kind of captures a bit of the color of the belt here, but it is also metallic, so it is kind of connecting those two a bit. And of course we have those metallic bolts and washers as a highlight, which is also pretty cool. So let me get back to the Velcro for a sec. So you see that for this Velcro I have just two fasteners, and it is a bit floppy on the sides, like it's not attached perfectly. You can see here that it's not 100% connected, but that's okay because those two are just holding it solid in place. It's not going anywhere. But technically I could, if I wanted to, get my finger or like a screwdriver or something under this. But it's still a lot of tension here, so this works just fine. On the other side, we have too much Velcro for that. It wouldn't work with just 2, so here I have 4. When you are layering your second belt layer, or maybe even third or fourth, however many layers you want to add on top, and especially if your belt material is some kind of a rare find, I don't want you to make the mistake of cutting it too short. And this is how it almost got me. So here is a diagram I made. So this would be in this picture if we look from the top on our bracelet. The black would be your forearm, or just, the void in the middle of the belt loop. So if we have the same length of our gray and our yellow belts laid out flat like this, and they're the same length when flat, if we keep them stacked on top of each other and curve them around the same curvature, this is what it will end up looking like, okay? Because this top belt, in order to cover the same amount of curvature, has to be longer because it's further away from our center. Don't think too much about it, just keep that in mind. And as I said, wear your bracelet's base layer, so the first belt with the Velcro, before you lay your belts on top of that. So measure out the belt around the curve, not in a flat condition, because it's really inviting for a bracelet like this to just lay it out flat and think you're done. And then you would run into problems, like either you pin it here, and then when you try to curve it, you will not be able to do so because the top will resist the curvature because it's just too short. Or you pin it on one side, then you curve it around your wrist, and then you will notice this is happening, but you wanted it to be the same length. So what you want to have is, just for the top belt, to have it a bit longer. Or again, just wear it as you measure out the other belts. It sounds a bit confusing, just try it out. So it took me about half an hour to make it. Now keep in mind, just mechanical work, just actually making it, it's a lot less work than designing it and coming up with the idea. So this is why it didn't take me like 10 minutes. I had to stop and think and stare at it and go like, which belt do I take next? So this is actually the hard part in designing and creating and crafting something like this. Everything else, I'm not even showing you how I made it because, again, I have videos on doing leather punches. I have a video about using bolts and nuts for costuming, so just watch those and it's really, really simple. So with this technique you can make something cool. I hope this was helpful and interesting, and if so, then like, comment, subscribe. If you're a regular viewer, support me on Patreon. That's linked in the video description. Also join the Nuclear Snail community group on Facebook. You can also find me there. You can post your works. I will sometimes give feedback to those. You can talk with other people. And I will see you in the next episode. Until then, hail the snail.